Alrighty.
We are live.
So you went riding this morning?
Only with Roar. Yeah.
With Roar?
Yeah. So got a new vest, trying out some leashes, trying to get her to play with the edges a little bit. And
Sweet.
Otherwise she just goes straight and then bails.
That's awesome. She just wants to point it, man.
She does.
She's been watching Sean Bobby a little too much.
Yes.
Or Lila, turning is a sign of fear.
Yes. Turning is definitely a sign of fear.
That's awesome.
I got to get her over that fear of like when she's going too fast, she puts all of her weight in the back leg, and then like she just kind of like skid turns and like yard sales. And I'm like, stay up. I'm like, I got you on these leashes now. You can be confident.
Now, what is she on? Is she still on that same board that?
The ground board. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. And then I try to get her out to step up onto the new one. But the new one has so much camber in it that I just need to get her on the side slopes first. It's like,
okay.
I feel like each year it's gotten progressively more difficult for her to ride as she's gotten older, which is funny, just because it's like more weight priority over edges and different fear levels.
More hesitation.
Yeah. And so, now trying to get her into being like, do you trust me? I've got you.
Yeah. So, I'll get into that, I'm sure, soon. But it is kind of cool probably in the beginning because they're fearless.
Yeah. I got to get her up to little Terrier's level, right? Like dropping pipeline at 7.
Did you see the bird just posted the video today about that?
Yeah. I didn't realize he did his first tram descent at 2, apparently.
Apparently.
I mean, he's a ripper. So.
Whether or not he wanted to. That's the real
true.
question.
His dad was like, I wanted to be here, and so you're here.
Yeah. What's up? Luke is in the chat. What's up? How you guys? Week's
good.
Good, yeah.
I've been on snow twice this week, which is way more than normal.
Yeah, the man is back, I think we can say.
Back. Yeah.
Not at full capacity.
No.
A little limited.
Dipping the toes in the snow.
Yeah, he's like waiting in. But it was good. We were just up at Brighton yesterday. And then over the weekend, I was at the Bird Friday. It's been a good week. All board, no breaks. It's good to see you again. What's up? How has all that snow been? It's been great. We got a little bit of a drought right now.
Sun coming in this weekend.
Yeah. I mean,
it's only a week drought.
We can't complain. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, especially anybody on the East Coast is like drought. But we have like a 7-8 day gap between storms. It seems like with something coming in like Sunday or Monday, supposedly.
Yeah, I just saw the Pacific Northwest.
Hopefully,
finally got most of their mountains open, and unfortunately for them, like they had a big storm followed by rain, and so like everybody was like, it's opening, it's not a pow day. Like that was a bummer when you go there and it's just like rain runnels.
That's a bummer.
Everything looks like powder, but it's just a sheet of ice.
Jeez. Speaking of openings, I just saw Beaver's going to open. They just posted their opening date announcement. I'm thinking it's this weekend. I forget. But anyway, they announced that they're opening, and they don't make snow. So
yeah, and they're just past Logan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. They're in Logan Canyon.
Well, yeah. So technically, like you branch off before you actually hit Logan, I think.
The next time we go up there, we should hit up Pow Surfers. Grassroots.
Grassroots.
They're up there.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And yeah.
Yeah, the guy who runs their social media for Beaver, he keeps saying like we should come back, and he wants to show us around a lot more.
Nice.
They've got some awesome training, so
very cool.
We'll make that happen. I'm gonna try to make that happen before I do the Beaver review video. Luke says, love the videos this week. Keep it up. Thanks, man. Trying to stick to this Monday, Friday posts and Wednesday live stream so far.
Dan's on the grind.
So far, we're kind of making it happen. But it's challenging for me to stick to a schedule. But yeah, we filmed a little bit yesterday at Brighton with a brand new Lunar, and I'm going to try to drop that video this Friday. It's not going to be a real lengthy video, but just kind of like a little teaser of what the Rover's capable of.
Didn't you ride on Friday still?
I'm not sure. I was planning to.
Okay. I'm going to drop off a board up there on Friday.
I was planning to ride Friday, but Donovan just told me I should try to ride the Bird tomorrow. So.
So you're not going to link up with Kevin then?
I think I will.
Okay. But tomorrow instead
I'm waiting to hear back from him.
Okay.
If we're going to ride tomorrow or Friday. Yeah. So yeah, some of you guys might know. I guess I can talk about this. Kevin from Snowboard Pro Camp. Been chatting with him a little bit. He's in Utah for the season, and I think we're gonna link up and try to do some filming together. So stoked on that. I hope you guys are too.
Is he Canadian?
Yeah.
Do you know what brought him down to
Whistler,
the States yet?
I honestly think he's just at a point where he can travel and spend like a winter
Cool
at different places. And he thought, why not Utah? I guess after the season we had last year.
Yeah, I wonder how many people have moved here or then planned trips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Casey moved here because of
That's right.
last winter, probably.
That's right.
But it's funny that this winter has started off quite a bit different, which happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Charzy, what's up? He says, going to Brian Head in like 3 weeks for the first time. Is the park any good there? Yeah, it's decent, I'd say.
Did a park at Brighton?
You don't remember? I have footage of you.
It was like right at the bottom. I was on the landing craft though.
Yeah.
Not that I hit steel.
I have footage of you like doing 50-50s on the rainbow. But yeah. Yeah, they've got a park. The Fava boys are from there, and they got really good riding there, I'm pretty sure.
Cool.
So yeah, they've got a park. It's decent, I'd say. When we were there, granted, it was like right after they had a 30-inch storm, but it didn't seem like it was very well manicured throughout the day. Kind of seemed like they just set it and then like let it sit. But I don't know, maybe if it's not day after a powder day, it's a little bit better upkept. But I had like some ride on rails and stuff, which are fine. It just didn't seem to have many jumps. But
yeah, where it was at, now that I'm remembering, there doesn't have a lot of vertical. Well, in that space, right? It's just mainly like a entry level progression park.
I don't know if it's still like that. I mean, that was 2 seasons ago.
Right.
And
it was a fairly low snow season that year. Like we hit it on their biggest storm of the year.
Yeah. And that was one of the biggest storms. And we went down there partially because there was nothing up here.
Yeah. What a fun drive.
That was a fun
All those cars in the morning spinning out on 15.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's wild. Somebody just commented on the Brian Head video, like the original video, I think, talking about getting there from Vegas. And anyway,
cool.
Yeah, what else we got? Sam Lee went skiing at Sundance, first skiing in 10 years.
Dang.
Wow. Congrats being back on snow, man. That's awesome. Was sweating even on the blues. Oh, well. Were you sweating because of stress, or was it because you were just like working so hard, working up a sweat? But that's awesome, man. Welcome back. Yeah, I went through something similar with skateboarding. I went for almost 10 years without skating. And then when I got back into it, I was like, why did I ever stop? Snowboarding, I don't think I can say I actually like stopped snowboarding because for a long stretch, like in my late 20s to early 30s, I was going once a year. And I'm pretty sure I never actually missed a season, but that was just like once a year. But anyway, welcome back, man. That's dope. What's the longest you've ever gone without riding?
I don't think I've ever missed a season.
But what's the longest stretch you think between like each season even that you've gone?
5 months.
Wow.
So like thinking, or no, what would it be? 6 months, I guess. Right. Like if your season ends in April, May, and then starts up in November. Yeah. So
if that's, roughly when.
I mean, maybe when I was a kid longer, but like thinking about when I really got into it, I'd always ride opening day, always ride like, opening day. That's a national holiday. And then closing day, that's like National Grieving Day.
Yeah, day of mourning.
Yeah, day of mourning. You got to wear all black on that day.
Well, I'd say the day after. The day after.
The day after.
The day after closing day.
I think maybe the season that was the shortest or the longest between, like in most recent years, was 2020. COVID, right? Like I remember the shutdown up in Washington. Like me and a buddy were gonna go night skiing, and then and we were just kind of like, you know what? Let's just go up in the morning. And then that morning we checked socials, and they're like, we're closed.
Wow.
And then nothing opened until
Speaking of
Oh
Brian,
crap! Then I moved here.
yeah, then you moved here. So how many
Yeah.
months was that? Or
Yeah.
that was at least 6, I'd say, probably.
Yeah.
Unless you went out and did some touring
No, I don't
after
think
stuff
so.
closed.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No, and the Bird opened November 30th at the first year here. So
It's a good memory. That's when we met.
yeah.
Speaking of Brian Head, they were the last one, or Eagle Point, I forget which. It was either Brian Head or Eagle Point were the last ones to surrender to COVID.
Oh, really?
Because I remember Otto and his girlfriend at the time were like, "We're going down south. It's the last holdout."
you gotta
And it was like
refuge.
It was a PAL day. I remember them saying, but it was like super windy. But at the time, I was like, "You guys are gonna die." I was like, "Good luck
with COVID."
Yeah.
You can't leave. You can't go.
I was like, "Don't do it. It's not gonna be worth it." But yeah. No. Anyway, good.
You had
good
so many
stuff.
cool videos that year, just with like, you know, that POW days that you had at the Bird, and like you flew the drone around hidden, I think, and it was just like totally empty,
Mhm.
and like no one, like there's no footage like that.
Yeah,
like,
I know. It's
it was
crazy.
just kind of apocalyptic.
Yep.
Was that the day that you triggered that wet loose?
Yeah, it was. Yep. The first and only, knock on wood, time that I've triggered an avalanche. It was a small, slow-moving slide, lower elevation, so pretty inconsequential, I think, but still very eye-opening.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, Sam, welcome back. Luke, I'm going for my first time this Monday.
Oh, nice. Where are you riding, Luke?
Yeah, where we're at. Levi, who's ready for the stream? Let's go.
I feel like after coming like that, we need the wave. Whoa.
Yeah, right. Luke, can you talk about the board tonight, or do we have to wait? Nah, that's kind of why we're here.
Yeah.
So we might as well get into it. I was going to mention a couple other things like in the news first, but we can jump right into the board. We got a few people tuned in. So yeah, I got on it yesterday for the first time. It's the Lunar Rover, and it's a true twin.
Yeah, and it's kind of I mean, it's not volume shifted in the sense that like it has taper and a wide nose, but it's a shorter, wider platform than you would traditionally find in twins.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not classifying it as a wide board, but it's I was kind of looking to make something that was harken back to traditional camber shapes of the early 2000s, late 90s, of something that was contact point to contact point camber with a little transition alleviation in the nose and tail. And then try and keep, one of the hardest things was trying to keep the nose and the tail to fit within our other shape stylings, and not just have the popsicle stick rounding. And I mean, there's only so many options that you can do.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think you ended up with something really good that is still unique, but functional really well. You could have put like notches in both ends or something, but I think where you ended up with it, I love it. I think it looks really sick.
Thanks. Yeah.
You guys can sort of see it in the thumbnail of this maybe, but it has kind of a similar nose as the landing craft
and the Curie
and the Curiosity, just a little more blunt maybe.
Yeah, a little more blunt than both of them. But it's two what do you call them? Two elliptic curves that are coming to a point, and to still kind of have that like directional look. Yeah,
I love the profile of it. I think it's pretty sick.
And then it's got a kink tail and nose. So both the nose and the tail are kind of these flat rises versus having any type of round radius.
Instead of like a continuous curve of the nose and tail, it's kind of like shink.
And I think you got to play with it with the nose rolls that you were playing with, where it's like as you kind of pop up onto them, they act as another little platform. And not having any type of radius in there actually stiffens up those areas. Yeah. And gives you a platform to play on. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So and then it's our only board right now in the lineup that doesn't have carbon in it. And so we're trying to make as a like kind of looking at the market of twins. And we wanted to make something that was lower in the price range of our boards. And something that's like, if we've always kind of coined the Curiosity as our daily driver and like the creative board and like something super fun. And so this kind of like comes in place in front of it. And we're trying to fill, you know, spots that you would kind of say like, well, what's one board that, or what's like each part of the quiver, like what were we missing? And we're definitely missing like a twin shape, even though I never really thought I'd make a twin shape. But that was like moving out here. Yeah. Everyone's like, you have a twin? Do you have a twin? And I was like, no, what? Who wants twins? And then you know, we, after I think spending at least 2 seasons out here, and I was like, I want a twin, but I don't want the twins that I have.
Exactly. I like how aggressive it is, and it doesn't feel like a park noodle. Yet I'll get into this in the video I'm dropping on Friday, but if you wanted to detune it a little bit, you know, take a file and then soften the edges a little bit, give it a little less bite, then you can definitely throw it on some rails and mess around with it, kind of mini golf style, I think. It's got tons of pop though. It's a little bit stiffer than I'd say an average stiffness board, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
like
it's definitely our flexiest board.
Yeah, but I'd say like across most brands, like on, you know, a whole, if you were to take like most brands, like middle of the road, like 5 out of 10 flex, I'd say this one's a little bit stiffer. Like maybe a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
But for Lunar, it's probably like right in the middle.
Yeah. This was like the aim was to get a 5 out of 10, you know, board, something that was not so stiff between the feet. And that was actually something that was really nice to see, like watch from the third person, you riding it, was just how much torsional flex that you had when going into butters and just riding in general, that, you know, the board was reacting down its entire length and not just putting you back in the snow. And then as you kind of mentioned, it got me thinking, it's like, you know, the way that it's tuned right now and how much camber and contact the board has, like it's a great carver.
Yeah, it really is.
And like, you know, kind of just an all mountain machine. And then you could kind of almost detune it to your perfect, like, you know, do you want something that has a lot of edge hold or playful nose and tail, you know, in terms of like edge catch. And then like you could like partially detune and then leave the center sharp, right?
You could.
You know, just different things. So
definitely.
Now, if only you could just like take the edges out with Velcro and then put them back in, and we could just like test edges.
Do you remember the forum Street Dweller, I think it was called?
Yeah.
With no edges.
Yep.
I just saw Effin Rad had a post today where he was at like a board shop, I think, and he found one like with a sticker still on it.
That's
like
awesome.
Brand new.
That's awesome. There was a forum made another board called the Holy Moly, and one of the things they did with that was they actually did detented edges and they turned them up. And so you had a flat base across the width of it, and then you had like 2-degree rise on the edges. And it was not well received because like they coined it as being like the big brother to the Destroyer. And you know, when you're hitting big kickers on it, and there was just nothing to grip into it. Just people felt, you know, and so then
it's amazing that much, only like 2 degrees would affect it so much.
And then they came the Holy Moly 2, which I have one, and it's they ended up getting rid of that, and they did some really cool transition zones outside of the camber, and then they did like buttercups in the nose, which were like these little raised areas for buttering on. And it's a cool board.
But anyway, you guys are going to see a bunch more of the Rover. I was fortunate to be the first one to ride it. He's still coming back from his broken collarbone.
I couldn't do the board justice riding it tentatively, you know?
I guess.
So,
I mean, you make everything look good though, even just cruising.
But
groomers.
I think it was also really fun because, you know, the conversation really started within the crew of being like, do you have the twin? And I was like, I'm not really interested in twins. So I felt like I was already making this board for other people. And then, you know, the challenge kind of came of like, okay, well, what am I also making for myself and this quiver? And so it was really fun to have somebody else write it first.
I also think, like I told Austin, I was like, I love the Darkside. It's my everything board, like for 90% of the riding I do. But every once in a while, I'll go up to Brighton and I want to get in the park.
A lot more this season.
And pretend that this, you know, 40-year-old man can still derails, even though I've never been that good at it.
Hey,
And I'm like,
season.
I can't do it on the dark side. Like I ate so much crap trying, with the edges just being like as firm as they are. And it's stiff. And like for park, I was like, the only time I need a different board is in the park. So I picked up a Capita DOA, which kind of is a noodle comparatively. And I think Austin was just like, yeah, we can't have that.
I gotta make a twin. Let's make a twin.
And I'm very grateful.
I love it.
Yeah. So now like it definitely fills that gap for me, I think. And we only got to ride it for like 5 laps. I only got to ride it for like 5 laps yesterday. So just first impressions, it's really good. But I do think like getting on steel or even boxes, I might detune it a little bit. But other than that, it feels really good. Super great edge hold, just really fast.
When you were laying down like deep carves, like they were quite
not booting out.
Yeah,
not booting out. Great waist width, but it doesn't feel sluggish going edge to edge from heel to toe. So
yeah, and I like seeing on the a couple tripods and like presses, like the nose didn't fold, right? Like there was still a lot of, because like I still think primarily it's like I like to look at boards and think like, how are you going to perform off piste? It's like, and thinking like, I don't want that thing folding or losing energy when you're riding. And
it's sick. And it's gonna be a little bit more of an accessible price point too, right?
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah, with not having carbon in
huge
it
plus
is a big driver in that. So do
you want to talk about the construction of it?
Yeah, so it still uses our full bamboo core, and then the big difference is that we've introduced a biaxial fiberglass in it. So it's a up and down direction and a cross direction, the fibers, and so and then we have one sheet of triaxial, and that is both an up and down direction and then a crossing direction. So that provides you torsional stiffness. And then the biaxial is kind of lateral and nose to tail. And what that gives is a more flexible board. It's a little bit more damp, and it's not as lively as carbon, but it is more forgiving when it comes to flex. And
cool.
I think, input wise, it would be, a little latent, but in the sense that like it's more playful. And we're still using our super fast center bases. And we got those nice
lightning quick, man.
moons on the nose on the that we started doing, which is
little inlay
little moniker.
Yeah.
And then reinforced tip and tail, and then exposed bamboo on the sides. So it's
I like that little touch of flavor too.
And then we developed a new taper profile, which sets it apart from the other boards being a twin. It's like we didn't have every other board has a tapered taper, or has a progressive tapering profile. So like the nose of it has a different thickness.
When you're looking at the board from the side, right?
Yeah. So the thickness of its thickest point before it starts to taper out, like that's elongated across the nose in our directional boards. And then the tails are usually kind of have several different elevations where they make them snappier. So it's like you've got like a lot of stiffness but behind the foot, and then the very end of the tail is a little looser that you can load up on. So whereas this one is like symmetrical and
both the nose and the tail. So it's a true twin. Cool. So I hope that gives you guys a good introduction to the Rover. Very stoked on it. If you have more questions about it, obviously fire away. Let's see what else we got here. Levi War, Dan, will you hit up B-Town night skiing opening day Friday?
Oh wait, what?
Yeah, I forgot that
they're already open night skiing.
Yeah, pretty wild, huh? I don't
they
think
opened Great Western today.
I know.
Not to derail you.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I heard from Giovanni yesterday that they were going to open it today, and I was like,
oh, okay.
Of course, we were up there yesterday, but that's okay. Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to make it for opening night, but I am really stoked for night riding there, and hopefully we'll get to do a lot more. We did it last year on a night that the canyon was closing, and it got cut short a little bit, but we had a super fun time when we did it with some headlamps and all. So
we need brighter headlamps. I need a brighter headlamp.
I think I do too. Yeah. Brighter headlamps, and then like a dedicated lamp on the camera as well.
Kind of be like a transformer. I want like flood lamps in my hands, and then like a big one on my head, and I can just like
big old lightsaber.
Yeah,
might as well.
Definitely.
But yeah, probably won't be there for opening night, but definitely we'll do some more night riding there, especially if there's fresh snow. Like I think that's the best time to hit it, when it's been snowing all day.
Yeah, I'm always jealous of Johnny's feeds, and every time we see him, he's like going up for night, and it's like a big storm. He's like, I might not be able to get it tomorrow because I'm at work, but
yeah, for sure. Sam Lee, dude, just stressed out. Haha, trying not to get hurt. I feel like I'm working way harder than I'm supposed to. I just don't have a good teacher outside of YouTube. Okay. He's talking about, 10 years after.
Oh, yeah.
Not skiing.
Yeah.
Yeah, YouTube U is helpful, but it will only get you so far. Practical application on snow.
The thing that will get you the furthest is all French fries, no pizza. Especially in the flat zones.
Clearly, we're the best people to help you with skiing tips. But yeah, like on snow, if you can spend time with somebody who is a teacher or knows a lot more about it, it's going to help so much. And it's a little bit of an investment to, pay for a lesson, but I always recommend lessons for skiing or riding if you want to progress quickly.
Heck yeah.
Just people who've been doing it as a job, some of them like a lifetime career, they see everything, and their experience is going to help you speed things up so much faster.
I mean, even experienced riders,
totally.
Like totally.
Everybody can benefit from some instruction. That's one of the things I miss about working at the Bird as a snowboard instructor is the clinics they would do there all the time with some of the higher up instructors. And you were always learning something, whether it was just from watching other people or, the wealth of knowledge that the instructors would have from their training and whatnot.
I always enjoy seeing, like Alex ride, right? Like, or Ari coming from like, being in mountain school and fundamental training, like their style of riding is so much more like
efficient.
Efficient or dialed in. Like I made a joke to Ari last year. That's like, I feel like if we put like trackers on his knees to measure how out of like balance between his knees and the and the balls of his feet are, like he is like locked in like rails.
Yeah.
And
he's kind of got like a cowboy stance, which I think is also just like his body type.
Yeah.
Because not everybody rides like
he
that.
Just looks locked in.
But he totally does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And which sets him up for like his spin game, totally like a huge elevation on that last year. And like every time he'd spin, he's like totally balanced and like just, like no flail because his feet are just.
So anyway, take a lesson if you can. It'll help. I'm sure, especially if it's somebody who's certified, you can ask too. You can request an instructor that's got a certification for their training, either level 1, 2, or 3. And the higher the level, the more they can charge you, but the more they're going to know and the better they're going to be at teaching.
What level is Mike?
Mike's a 1, and he's been asked by everybody at Park City apparently to like level up, but he's like, I'm content. He said he's content just being level 1, doing what he does part-time. He's
retired. Like, retired. Yeah. He's like, I don't need to go like.
Yeah. Alex is a level 2 though. So if you guys get a lesson with Alex at the Bird.
And I didn't realize how big of like, how much that certification took, until Alex told me about, the studying and you got essays to write. And...
Yeah. It's a lot of work for 2. And then for 3, it's like insane. The passing rate when you take the exam for the 3 is like less than 10% of the class passes or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. But anyway, moving along. All board, no breaks, no prejudice against Mormons, but I was just wondering, what is it like to live in Salt Lake as a non-Mormon? If so, what are the biggest differences compared to other cities that you have lived in? That's a fair question. Honestly, the biggest difference to me is just like you see temples all over the place. These big white temple structures.
They stick out,
but it's not
especially at
all
night.
that different. I guess like the liquor laws are a little different here. You know, they have state-run liquor stores, so they're a little bit more spread out. And you go inside, and it looks kind of sterile and like an office building. But
And you can't buy over 5% beer at, you know, grocery
at a
stores.
grocery store.
And
but the funny thing is that coming from Maryland, you couldn't buy anything in a grocery store besides like soda.
all right.
And you had to go to a liquor store to get beer. So it's kind of nice for me if I drink beer to, you know, go to the grocery store and be like, oh, we need eggs, bread, and we'll grab a 6-pack.
Nice. Yeah. I think it's unfortunate that you can't get there's not many options on tap here. We don't have like tap houses here, right? For that reason. Like there's just there's not a really great like what's the like social beer scene in that sense, because
but there's a lot of microbreweries.
There are a lot of microbreweries that produce here,
which is kind of wild.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I don't know, like as far as like interactions with people and stuff, like the Mormon community is very friendly to outsiders, generally speaking, especially, you know, when they're just getting to know you. But it's also sort of like there's two different cultures here, right? You know, there's kind of like that part of Salt Lake, which has most of the history of Salt Lake and its roots. And then there's like the ski and snowboard community. And sometimes they cross over. Like one of our skier friends is Mormon. But for the most part, like depending on what circles you hang out in, you might never really spend any time with Mormons. But yeah, I'd say overall Salt Lake's not all that different from other cities. Culturally, it's not as diverse as like Baltimore, where I'm from, obviously. But yeah, I hope that kind of answers the question. It's just a fact about living here, but it doesn't really affect life one way or the other, I'd say. So Luke says Banff Mount Norway cheap season pass. Okay,
that's cool. I didn't know Banff had cheap season passes. Banff itself is beautiful. Like actually, man, I'm just thinking about the big hotel at the bottom of the lake there. But
I haven't been there, but sounds cool. I'll have to check it out. Joel Carter, what's up? That's sick. Joel is a real good friend from high school. Cool. So like the second person I ever snowboarded with. What's up, Joel? It's awesome to see you in here, dude.
That's awesome.
Guy shreds. He could have gone far, I think, in snowboarding if, you know, he pursued some sort of career there. But yeah, it's awesome to see you, buddy. You got to come out here and visit. He's in the land of the Floridians now. I need to come get on there and visit him as well. But
in Florida?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. But he said, did you keep the same stance moving to a wider board? Yeah, I'd say so. Definitely same stance. I'm rocking like a 21, maybe 21.5-inch stance between the feet. Yeah. And
I think you've changed your
angles
a little bit.
Yeah, well, yesterday I rode 12 and 12, but I honestly couldn't remember what my park board was set up at. And I think I usually run 15 degrees positive in the front and 12 negative in the back. But we ended up just riding 12 and 12. And at first I was like, I feel like my knee's a little closed, but I got used to it pretty quick, actually. But yeah, I'd say like for park, I would usually do 12, maybe 15 in the front. And then for like the paddle board, the Darkside, I go 15 in the front and like -9 in the back. But I might have to go 12-12 from now on for the twin.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was.
I'd still go 15-12 on the twin.
Yeah,
you know, because again, you're on a twin 80% of your time, 85% of your time.
Yeah, that's true.
Is in one direction.
That's true. Yeah, but yeah. Speaking of widths, Joel, if you're still on here, like I don't know when the last time was you snowboarded, but snowboards have evolved quite a bit from what we used to ride. And I feel like I never had a board that was wide enough, but short enough, being a shorter guy. Like Joel was kind of my height. I think maybe he was an inch taller than me or something. I'm 5'7", 5'8" on a good day. And I could never, back in the day, you know, like the early 2000s, find a board that was like 152 or 153 that still had wide enough waist width where my toes didn't hang over or my heels didn't hang over too much. But boards have come a long way since then. And that's one of the things I love about this new twin and the Darkside and pretty much everything in your fleet. So stance is pretty much unaffected, but it's nice to not worry about your feet.
I'd say I changed my stance more on how directional the board is. Like the more directional board, the skinnier my stance gets. And like, you know, just so like you're just a little bit tighter. You don't need as much like, you know, balance between like distance between the feet for like this kind of like nose to tail balance. Yeah.
I feel like the longer the board in length, the more I might widen my stance.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, just because I feel like with more surface area, I don't know, it would give me a little bit more balance going out towards the nose and the tail.
I did some testing at the end of last season, and I had a lot of fun. I took out a 159 and a 152, and I slammed my stances as skinny as I could. Like, I think 16 and a half inches on one of them. I had so much fun. The amount of rear knee poke that I could get. Wow. And just like, you know, sit down on the back leg. It was a blast.
You could probably spin pretty quick too, like a ballerina.
Probably. I'd look like one of those 90s spinners, the arm up in the air. Do you want to see my double axel?
Did you see like the 2160 that was done like a few weeks ago? Yeah. Speaking of spinning like a top.
1080 is an outdated game now.
It's insane. I remember like when Joel and I were riding, like 1080 was like the plateau. You know, like for goodness sakes, there was the 1080 snowboarding game on N64, and it was literally the hardest trick to do. You had to mash the stick like a million different directions, and it was like so hard to do that. And like the upper echelon, I could maybe pull off a 1080, and now it's like, oh, just double that. Let's do 2 of those, and that's what.
So you're doing 6 rotations.
It's insane, yeah. But anyway, we're getting into the weeds a little bit. John says, excited, looking forward to ride it. Sweet.
Nice.
Yeah. Reach out to...
Looking forward to build it.
Reach out to lunar.mfg on Instagram if you guys want to do a demo, if you're local, if you're in the area. Austin's always down to try to set up a demo. But yeah. Levi says, I have a 2000 lumen headlamp that I love for night riding. That sounds awesome.
That sounds very bright.
That sounds awesome. Let me know where you got that, if you don't mind sharing.
He's pulling up.
Is that Amazon?
He's pulling up your in the news article next.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't know about.
Okay. Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on the Pow Mau semi-private change? I was going to ask Austin if he's heard about this.
I have not, and I'm not very excited to hear about this.
Yeah. So the co-founder Reed Hastings has unveiled plans to keep
not co-founder of Pow Mau, right? Netflix co-founder.
Sorry, yes.
He's a recent board member.
Well, he's been a board member for like the past few years, but last year he acquired a second seat at the board, so now he holds the majority of the board at Pow Mau. And yeah, he kind of hinted at some stuff changing over the summer, but I guess it's official now. If you guys haven't heard, Pow Mau, this year is the last season that you're going to be able to ride Mary's and Village chairlift unless you own property there, because it'll be private.
Mary's and Village. Yeah. Okay, so I'm not well versed enough in knowing where I'm at when I'm at Pow Mau to.
Mary's and Village are the ones that are by the houses. Remember the mega mansions?
Yep.
So Village is the one that's by Post Malone's house.
Oh, so we just gotta get in with Post Malone, and then rent his basement.
So do you remember, like, if you're going from the top of Hidden, far right, and then you go across that little bridge? Yeah.
And the Aspen's over there.
Yeah. Okay. That chairlift and that area, that's Village. That takes you up to the top, and then you can kind of keep riding right a little bit, and then there's a wind lip that you can hit. And eventually you hit kind of the the boundary of the resort, and then
Mhm.
it takes you to another chairlift.
Is that out where we would go to Raintree?
Eventually,
Okay.
you get to Raintree, but you have to get on Mary's lift, and you do like this long kind of flat cat track
Mhm.
that hugs a rope line. And then at the very end of it, you kind of have to hop up just a tiny bit or like walk a little bit to get to the
Wait,
chair.
is that flat cat track the one that we were doing all those one-footed balancing acts?
Yeah.
Like just a bunch of Jerry stuff?
Yeah, just a bunch of silly stuff because it was so flat.
Yeah, and you had to kick.
Mhm.
All right, so not the biggest loss. But
No, but there's like that wind lip there, and then there's some aspens there that are pretty fun.
yeah, the aspen tree that's like,
Mhm.
I mean, we've ridden out there quite a bit. I mean, because no one's ever out there.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's like of Palo Alto's already not busy, and
Mhm.
that I would say is deserted. Over there generally.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's not like the most desirable terrain at Palo Alto. Now, if like they were gonna,
but it's chill.
Yeah, it's chill. The aspens are super scenic to like ride through, especially along Mary's. There's a trail there called Send It that the first video I made of Palo Alto, I talked about that in the beginning. I said like it's time to send it, and won't be able to send it there anymore, I guess. So that's a little bit of a bummer. But yeah, when you get to the top of Mary's lift, if you kind of go straight coming out of the lift, instead of like turning around to ride down again the lift, that heads towards Raintree and eventually down to Paradise and all that.
Yep.
But yeah, they're making that private
that's
next season.
A bummer.
They're also, I don't know how I feel about this. My instinct says I don't like it. They're also adding a chairlift that goes from Timberline Base, where the lodge is, up to Lightning Ridge.
I will say I'm excited about that because Lightning Ridge is the vertical, and Lightning Ridge is too short for a cat ride. James Peak is worth it for the cat ride, right? Like,
yeah, but you gotta hike for it.
Yeah, but then I'm gonna guess that like the chairlift is gonna drop you off. Like, it's not gonna drop you off where the hut is.
I think it will.
You think? Oh, okay. Well, then,
yeah. It's gonna. I'm pretty sure.
There's
I will be surprised if it doesn't drop you off right where the cat normally stops.
Okay.
Because that gives you access to both the south side and the north side, dropping into.
But then where would they? Then they're gonna need to take the cat somewhere else. I mean, maybe that opens up new terrain.
I know. I think that's what they're gonna do. They did say that they're gonna move the cat somewhere else, I guess, but I don't know where. I mean, maybe they're gonna try to get it closer to James. I was talking to Donovan about it, and he was like, he said maybe they'll just like cut into the terrain and make like switchbacks going up to the top of James or something. But that seems like,
I don't know if cats are that nimble.
I don't know. I mean, in the summertime, if they did a lot of work, you could make a cat track.
Sure. Like a summer road.
Like a summer road, exactly. But
well, that's interesting. I mean, like I could say, like it makes sense that they would need to add a chair to open more terrain if they're going to privatize one area.
So I guess they're trying to make up for it.
Yeah, and the area that they are privatizing is not necessarily bread and butter terrain. It's chill terrain. It's like I would imagine the terrain that people who are riding in from those mega mansions would enjoy.
Probably.
And
but I don't know how I feel about like lift access to Lightning Ridge, because part of what makes Lightning Ridge so special is it's like never tracked out.
Right. So I'd assume
it's Palo Alto, so Palo Alto, will still limit the tickets sales, and it won't get as tracked out as a regular resort. But like halfway through the day, it's going to look a lot different than it would if it was just cat access.
True. And so maybe that's my inside talking of saying like I'm always looking up at Lightning Ridge because it takes a while to be able to get to the cat. Like you could it like round trip. It's maybe maybe a cat and a half in an hour, right? Because like you could go up to James.
I guess. I mean, if you drop straight fall line right back down to sundown lift, I feel like I've gotten 3 laps in an hour.
Wow. Okay.
But maybe not.
Okay.
You're probably right. my time estimation is probably a little off, but it feels like
I got 10 minutes to leave. Let's go do a cat lap.
Yeah.
We'll take it right back to the parking lot.
But anyway, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see where they put the cat. And then the last piece of news on that is Paradise will no longer be like 3 runs in an hour or 2 runs in an hour, because they're upgrading that lift to a high-speed quad.
Now that's exciting, but
it's a trade-off.
More people are going to go over there,
yeah,
because it's not a slow chair.
It's exciting. Like you'll be able to get more laps there, But at the same time, you know, after 3 laps, it'll look a lot different.
Yep.
Probably than it would have.
So when are these going into effect? When are they building new chairs? When are they?
Apparently after this season.
Oh, so this big summer project.
So big summer project. I don't know if all this stuff is gonna actually come to fruition by like opening day next year, but I'm pretty sure the article. I didn't read a whole lot about it. I have the article here, but for the sake of time, I won't dive into it too much. But it says Powder Mountain plans to spend $20 million to update and increase public lifts in other parts of the resort. Oh yeah, they're gonna upgrade Timberline, the old.
Oh, cool. Yeah, the
2-seater with
fixed grip.
Yeah, that's like I think the oldest lift there. I think they're gonna keep it a fixed grip, but Donovan said he heard they're gonna make it a 4-chair fixed grip.
A blend of public and private skiing secures us for decades.
Yeah. So I don't know. Times are changing. It is what it is. I guess you can't stop it.
It's tough. It's the inequity of it is tough, and that's where it's like if you're saying like private to residents of that county, like that'd be interesting.
That would be for the locals.
Like in the same way it's like people like at Baker, right? It's like they have a special seasons pass section for Whatcom County residents, and then they have an open season pass, and there's a limited section of those. So
that would be cool. But yeah, so we'll have to soak in Mary's and Rain Tree and Village this season, because it'll probably be the last time we ride it, unless we become friends with Post Malone.
Yeah, or maybe
or Reed Hastings.
Maybe we can buy like a little like 10x10 plot and put a tent on it, like glamping.
Yeah, it's a good idea. All right, where are we at? I think we missed a couple here. John Marquez says the Darkside board rides so fast that you should think about putting a spoiler in the back. Yeah, thought about it, man.
Yeah,
definitely needs some downforce.
Yeah, get that tail down.
Well, that's part of why it's a kicktail, right? The kicktail has a little more downforce.
Definitely.
B-Rad says best double black diamond run. Anywhere or like at a specific resort? Great Scott's awesome. It's hard to beat, especially when the Cirque first opens. Yeah. It's pretty great.
Is that the highest elevation to the bottom
on
of
the Cirque? Yeah, it's the highest point of the Cirque for sure. Especially if you include like the flatter run out. That's a great one. Yeah, I mean, elevator obviously is hyped up, but elevator is such a rush, man. Like, might have to be my favorite because Great Scott's awesome. It's like pure euphoria when it's untouched, or even after like a few people have hit it. You can get some really deep, wide turns in there. But to me, there's nothing like dropping an elevator
right into a traverse.
I haven't hit a traverse there. I don't think I've hit a traverse. I've definitely blown up in the bottom, but I think it was more because the snow got kind of dense and like wet on a specific day. But just tilting the nose over, like seeing the nose hanging over the edge like this basically, and just knowing like you got to commit to like tipping it down, and then before you know it, like you're in the apron going like Mach 10.
It does feel like kind of like dropping into like a 16-foot wall. You're just like, all right, here we go.
Yeah,
all the pressure on the front foot.
So I'm gonna say it's my favorite. Austin McHutterson says Austin.
Hey, yeah.
Custom Kids Lunar.
Custom Kids Lunars. Yeah, I wish. Always in the plan. And got ideas for it. The challenge with kids boards is they're like the hardware for them is pretty limited. And if you look at like the Burton Grom board, it's like 3 millimeters thick at the core. And then they actually have like these EVA pads that like are where your bindings go, because the inserts are thicker than the thickness of the board. And the other issue is like it's just
they also grow really fast.
Yeah, they grow so fast. Yeah, exactly. But
so it's a lot to invest.
My daughter keeps asking for one, and I made a deal with her. I'm like, once you can make it to the bottom of Chickadee, we build your board.
Like on her own?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
She's got her model picked out, and like we'll have fun with it. And like,
if you guys don't know, Chickadee is a bunny slope, but it is the steepest beginner slope in North America.
It definitely is. I would there.
Got some banks to it too,
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah, there is not
yeah.
there is not a like flat or like I would say an uncanted section of that run.
Mhm.
You know, it's a good beginner run for learning how.
It is. It's really good. Yeah, definitely. If you're learning skiing or snowboarding, more of a pitch helps, I think.
Yeah.
Back to the fullest says I'm headed to Banff this season. Nice. Right on. Hitting the big 3.
Oh, Rebel Stoke Kicking Horse. And,
sick.
And Banff, I guess.
Awesome. McHutterson's, I'm having a hard time feeling motivated to get out with all this BCC reservation crap. Yeah, it's interesting. It makes things a little more challenging. But I will say, like, the days that I've been up at Brighton, it's been fun and not too crowded. B-Red 15 and 5. Is that your stance? Angles? I'm guessing.
Yeah. I mean, before long, he's going to be 15 posi 5. You know, you're going to be riding double posi.
Might as well just go 15 posi 15.
Yeah.
Luke says Mount Norquay is one of the ski big 3 mountains in Banff alongside Lake Louise and Sunshine Village.
Oh, I guess I'm wrong. So it's not those.
I was like, oh, you probably know. Yeah, sounds good to me. They are all amazing, and I am very lucky to live so close to them. That's sick. That's awesome, man. Yeah, you can't beat living close to mountains. It's awesome. Levi says...
Unless you're a fisherman.
Huh?
The water. I don't know. It's like out here, you live close and you can't.
Yeah, but they've got rivers. There's fly fishing. That's what I'm like, what are you talking about? But okay. Surfer.
Okay.
Maybe. But there's river surfing. Levi says you can always take the bus. That's what I do, but make sure to leave early so there isn't as many people on it.
Yeah.
Levi, chime in. I'm wondering how the bus service has been, because you know the controversy is they cut back the buses. They're supposed to be running like only every 30 minutes. I haven't tried it yet, but I've been tempted to. So yeah, let me know, Levi. What do you think? Has it been relatively easy to catch the bus? Has it been on time? And have you had to wait around for a bus leaving? X-Rap says been looking to invest in a new board the next season or two, and I'm not really sure what to look for. I love my first board and it's still in great condition. I just want to push myself. I'd recommend something stiffer, something
camber if you don't already have it.
Yeah. Definitely. It depends on what you have right now, but
and what you like to ride.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I'd say across the board, camber and stiffer is pretty much always going to make you have to ride a little bit better and learn to ride more confidently.
Yeah, it's going to open up the mountain.
Yeah. But yeah, let us know what you're riding. Luke says, when you coming? X-Rap, I only get to board about 1 or 2 times a season since I'm in Houston. But would a Lunar be good one to invest in? Absolutely. I'm in an intermediate level and I just like to cruise and have fun.
Yeah, so I think like something like the Rover or the Curiosity.
Would be,
yeah. And we get people reach out, and it is difficult sometimes. Like people are like, oh, I'm a beginner and I love your boards, and like I'd like to get one. And I definitely don't normally recommend our boards in like, especially in the beginner threshold, just because they are somewhat specialized, right? But especially in the intermediate class, like getting to, especially if you're on like a twin now, getting something that is a directional shape can be a big like boon in your riding.
It can be an eye opener, right? Like it kind of turns on the light bulb, like, oh wow, I didn't realize like boards were kind of capable of this. So if you don't ride switch very much, something like the Curiosity I think would be really good.
Yeah. That's a little bit of taper that you get on the Curie, like just adds so much stability.
Yeah, I think that's a great option for intermediates. And if you do want to ride park and ride switch quite a bit, then I think the Rover is going to be a great option. But it is a little bit more, I'd say, kind of in between intermediate and advanced.
Yeah.
The Rover.
Yeah, the amount of
Yeah.
camber that it has is, you know, with not a lot of early rise, you know,
Right.
in the you know, yeah,
A little
absolutely.
less forgiving when you're, you know,
You want to be
pivoting
confident
the
in your
board.
ability to turn and transition edges and
Mhm.
initiate turns.
Yeah.
I'd say.
But yeah, hope that helps. Back to the fullest, end of February. Levi says it also just mounts into my GoPro mount, which I think is really nice.
What does?
Um,
Oh, the lumen. His 2000 lumen.
Oh yeah, the light.
That's sweet.
That's awesome. That's convenient. Yeah, for sure. McHotterson's asking Levi question.
He always tries to catch the bus around 6:15. He's at Union Station.
Nice. Nice.
I'm gonna drive by with a snowball. Got you, Luke! Levi.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I guess the first one's bound to be on time, hopefully.
Right.
But 6:15, man, that's so early. But then again, you know, for powder days, I've left my house sooner than that. Occasionally. Yeah. And then Levi says, but then in the afternoon, I'd say leave at 2 or 3 because there can be a lot of people online and you might have to stand on the way down if you leave later than that, I guess you're saying. Yeah. That makes sense. I mean, often I'm leaving the mountain by like 2 or 3 anyway, so it's not too bad. But thanks, man. Appreciate that. Oh, cool. Trevor says, I got the Curiosity.
Oh, hey, what up, Trevor?
There we go. I got the Curiosities in upper intermediate, and I've put well over 100 days on it.
Awesome.
Sick. My skill has gotten far better over that time, and the board has held up throughout. There you go.
Beautiful. Yeah, thanks for the comment, Trevor.
That's awesome. Oh, yeah. Luke says, sweet, amazing time to come. Hopefully snow will be good this year. What's our thoughts on Battalion? I don't have a whole lot of experience with Battalion.
I've only ridden a Battalion once, but I do love their nose and tail tech. You know, with their 3D spoon shapes, like it adds a lot of life in you know, variable condition riding.
Butter
and the Battalion Surfer.
They look cool. I like their
over
styles.
that board for a while when they first came out with that. It was really cool.
Yeah, they look cool. I'll have to demo one. I haven't ridden one.
I don't know where they're made at.
Yeah, I don't either. Red says, love seeing Austin expand the offerings.
Thanks, Red.
But the Curiosity is the next board on my wish list.
Nice.
Sweet. Yeah, it's a great board. I spent a lot of time riding that board before the Darkside came out, and it's still super fun.
We'll have to get, so the Curiosities line has expanded this year too. We now got a 148, a 152.
Nice.
In addition to a 155. So we made smaller ones this year. And
very cool.
One thing that we've done in making them smaller is like I've tried to make sure that we don't just scale a board down like uniformly. And so like the 148 is actually the same waist width as the 152.
Wow.
Because it's like as you like average size foot, right? And then for the people who that doesn't fit, like that's where, you know, custom waist widths come in. But you know, I still wanted to make sure like that it was something that like you or I could ride.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, sure, you're not like putting your arm down in the snow when you're trying to, you know, carve into something, but like it's gonna be a way fun park board.
Yeah, that sounds really fun. Cool. Have to get on that, especially springtime. Cotterson's, I had to jerry rig my kids' ride bindings onto the kids' Burton board. Why can't they just all work together?
Oh yeah, because so like the Burton board comes with the triangle
really
mounting system, and then because it doesn't have the traditional, you know,
is that like the old school like Burton, like 3-hole
no, it's much smaller.
Okay,
it's much smaller.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't delved into that yet, but I'm sure I will experience what you guys are talking about very soon.
The kids market is just like so limited in their gear, which makes sense because like you said, they grow so fast.
Yeah,
so it's not a big market in general.
Yeah. Steezy McFly 1, awesome name, by the way. I got to run into you guys last year at Park City. Sweet.
Very cool.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, Park City was really fun last year. In Motion SLB, smash like. Yeah, hit that like button, guys. Let's get some traffic going on here. Really appreciate it.
Let me tune in really quick. I'm gonna smash that like.
Yeah. Nick Hodderson's, I usually leave at 11 to 1, so we will be golden. Got a family to get back to. I hear that. LF Productions, did you show the new board yet? No.
The last live stream I was on, we showed a little preview of it.
Yeah, he showed a picture of it.
Yeah.
On his phone on the last live stream.
And then, but there'll be some photos of it hitting socials real soon, probably Thursday or Friday.
Yeah.
So,
and Friday I'm releasing a video riding the board for the first time, so you guys will see it Friday or sooner with some photos.
Yeah,
hopefully. But yeah, it looks really sick. Levi says I stayed till 4 on a Friday, and it ended up being 4 hours and 45 minutes before I got back to Midvale
because he was waiting for buses.
Yep.
Ouch. That's not cool.
That's the stuff of nightmares right there.
Mm-hmm. You can't schedule around that.
No. Yeah. Luke says, I have a question about the Darkside. Have you heard of the ride Warpig? I have heard of it. How close would it be to that? Sorry if this doesn't make sense. No, it makes sense. I haven't ridden the ride Warpig, but I think it's pretty different.
Yeah, I have not ridden ride Warpig either, but I'd say what I know about it is the Darkside has quite a bit more taper, or more volume shifted. And I don't know how much setback it has. I know in general, I have held one and flexed it, and Darkside is stiffer. And the Darkside has more of a progressive stiffness profile, a much stiffer nose, and that snap in the tail. And
I feel like I could be wrong. I feel like the Warpig has a little bit more surface area behind the back foot.
Yeah, I think it's and it's also a much flatter board. It doesn't have as much camber.
Yeah, so hope that helps. But it's a cool looking board.
Yeah. Yeah, rides come out with some bangers.
Yeah. That's insane, Levi. Definitely. Gary, the 972 sucks. Couldn't fit all in on the 330 down. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. That's a bummer. X-Wrap, I appreciate it. Definitely. I'll definitely check out the Curiosity.
Cool.
I don't ride Switch all that much. I have a Burton. Cool. Yeah, not too sure what kind, but I need to learn this stuff more. It can be a lot of information to digest, especially if you're just getting into snowboarding. Heck, I'm still learning stuff.
Oh, yeah.
From this guy.
I mean, I'm always learning stuff.
Yeah. Yep. I appreciate it, guys. Definitely going to look into your boards. Cool.
Right on.
Yeah, thanks for asking, man. Gary says that's bad for a weekday.
Yeah.
That's very bad. I'm scared to ride it this weekend. Well, like Levi said, I guess, Gary, to try to get the early bus getting up there and then try to dip around maybe 2 o'clock if you can. But yeah, I really wish they beefed up the bus system with this parking situation. Vlad says, guys, Burton boards have really gone down in quality. Got to try that Lunar board.
You.
Yes, sir. I'm not going to bash Burton, but I can't disagree. So LF Productions, does Lunar ever do demos? Absolutely.
Yeah. So like most commonly people reach out if they're locals, and like via Instagram or contact page on our website, and we kind of set something up, and whether we meet at a local mountain, and then we actually just met with the marketing at Brighton yesterday and got some information about what we need to do to provide in order to actually have like a tent set up and do like a proper promotional demo day. Yeah. So that is in the works for hopefully we'll get something on the books in January is what was suggested. So very excited about that. And we're also going to try and link one of those up at the Bird this season. So, and we'll of course, post information weeks ahead of time before we do that.
Yep. So that goes into this next question. Would you guys ever set up a local Utah demo day?
Yeah,
definitely. Yep. X-Rap says, I got my Burton in 2019 and it hasn't disappointed, but I'm just ready to start a new era and progress. Sick.
Nice.
Love the sound of that, man. Yeah, sounds good. So another thing I wanted to chat about while we're here, Austin, is what did you think of the Crest 6?
Oh, Crest 6 was Dude, it took my hat off. It was so fast. It took my hat off.
I think it took your hat off and then it kept it off.
Yeah.
For like the next couple chairs.
Yeah, probably.
Because that Instagram post that we made yesterday, we were sitting on Snake. Actually.
Oh no. Yeah, so I was riding,
and his hat was like back here.
Yeah, only held on by my goggles. Crest 6 was awesome. I think the speed up to the top was like, you know, sometimes like you get really good conversations on chairs, and like then the conversation peters out, and then you're sitting there and you're waiting, and your ankle's hurting, hanging your board down, and then you get to the top. Crest 6, you're like, we'll catch that conversation on the next chair. It took 5.5 minutes to get to the top, and Crest offers such great variety of terrain and able to get other places. And the loading experience was really fun. Like the little conveyor belt that, you know, would get you on. And there's no friggin' gear bar hanging below you. I personally detest gear bars.
You mean like footrests?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because for like they work for skis. I just have never think they work for boards.
I am on the other side of the camp. I think that the footrest sucks if it's a full chair and, you know, it's stacked, especially with a 6-seater, like if there's 6 people, or a 4-seater and there's 4 people on it. But if it's just like 2 of us, I'll throw that sucker down.
I think it's way more comfortable to just put the board on your other boot.
Yeah, but but you can't use it like a skier uses it. You can't keep your board pointed forward if you like swing your leg up in front of it so that the tail is actually pointing a little bit forward. It's super comfortable because then you're sitting like duck foot stance a little bit. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay, I haven't tried that.
Yeah.
So I learned something new. I'm gonna try something
comfortable,
new.
But it only works if you're on like the far right side if you're regular, or the far left side if you're goofy, if it's a full chair, or if there's like 2 people, then like you swing it down with like the bar like in between your knees, and then you just like lift it up and stick the board in front of you, and then it's just like resting on the heel edge instead of the toe edge.
Catch us on the next live
now,
stream.
If you have the toe edge
stuck on the chairlift.
But yeah, if you rest the toe edge on it and your ankle's like all twisted, that's not comfy. No, that sucks. But as I'm older, like I'm starting to have like some knee issues, so I appreciate the foot.
Not with CB days.
It helps a ton. It really does. CB days like makes up for the lack of a footrest on the chairlift.
Crest takes off like a rocket ship. It sure does.
It does, yeah. Like we were noticing, like, oh man, I think it got windy. And then we get to the top of the lift and we get off and the trees are just completely calm. And we're like, oh wait, no, that's just the speed. That's just the speed of the lift. So
I think it'll be really interesting to see at peak season how the lines do. You know, they got rid of the AB line system where there's the line left of the lift.
That is one thing that's a little bit of a bummer, I think, to me. I like that the lines were split up and you can go to the right side or the left side, and that kind of helped with the bottlenecking. And the singles line was always on the right side, which was furthest away from the Brighton Center. So I think a lot of people didn't even realize it was there and didn't go to it. So often the singles line was way faster, even on like a really packed day. So yeah, I don't know how it's going to be on like those busy weekend days with everybody being on the side by Molly Greens now. But we'll have to wait and see. But overall, I was like, dang, this thing is quick. And as far as like the capacity numbers go, it seemed like it was going to be faster, even though statistically there's like a claim that the old 4-chair put up more people per hour.
And like we were talking about, I wonder if that's in pure numbers of how many chairs, how many butts on seats. But
like maximum specs that it could handle versus like what it actually did day to day. But
we need a lifty to weigh in.
Yeah.
Who's controlling the operation?
We should.
And this conspiracy theory.
Yeah. Our buddy Zach should weigh in.
Yeah.
He's a lifty up there.
It's like I signed an NDA. I can't.
He might have, yeah. All right, guys. It's 9:09, so I think we'll try to wind this down. If you got any more questions, definitely throw them in. Really appreciate you guys being in here. As James just said, smash the like button. Hit that like button. We really appreciate it. But yeah, what else do we got here?
Eagle lift. There's a new lift at Solitude this year?
Yeah, they've been working on it.
That's cool.
Anthony's been working on it.
Really?
Yeah, he's a lifty there now.
I thought it was like construction. I was like, I knew he was a lifty, but I
mean, I don't know if he's building it, but he said he's been like
Cool.
working on it.
Where
over
is it
there
at?
to help it? Eagle's the one that we rode last season when remember we got that parking like all the way at the end of the parking lot?
Yeah.
That's Eagle. That chairlift.
Oh, okay.
The one that you look up and it's like
Mhm.
clack, 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 clack.
Okay,
It's
so
not
they
going to
replaced
be
that.
clickety clacking anymore.
It's gonna be turbo mode, which
I guess
that lift has got some excellent groomers on it. I think some of the steepest groomers at Solitude.
Yeah, I would agree.
I went back and rode a couple spring days, like early morning for some hard pack to test out tunes.
Spring conditions by Eagle are super fun.
Yeah, and that was a burner.
And I like the fact that it's so far over, from the base lodge and everything. I think it gets a little less crowded. But it'll be interesting to see, how that lift does. Alex says, coming to ride in Utah in February, 3-day trip. Should I go to 3 different resorts or one all 3 days? If I was coming to visit for the first time, I would probably do 3 different resorts if you can. But, there's also something to getting to know a resort a little bit more. Depends on where you are going to go and if it's like a storm week or weekend when you're here. Because like, for example, if you went to the Bird for all 3 days and it was just like nuking snow, you might get limited terrain open and not actually see a whole lot.
As we've kind of talked about, sometimes the Bird is the word like the day after the storm, right? It's like, when
avalanche danger settles down and they start to open up stuff.
Yeah.
But storm day riding can be really good, especially if the storm is like just started that morning. Generally throughout the day, there won't be closures unless it gets really windy.
Is Mineral open?
Any day now.
They were blasting back there today.
Oh, okay. Any day now. But like if you're going to stay at Park City, for example, or not even stay at Park City, but ride at Park City, you could easily spend 3, 4, 5 days there and never ride the same runs. The entire time that you're there, you could experience whole new terrain, exploring, because it's so big. There's so much to offer when everything's open. But then if you're going to go, I don't know, somewhere like Brighton or even Solitude, 3 days, you might start to hit some of the same trails that you've done before.
It depends on how adventurous you are, right? It's like, getting out there and
But if you don't want to deal with any parking situations or traffic, then I'd say Park City. They do have like paid parking, but there are some free options like over on the Canyon side. And you don't want to have to worry about what are the avalanche conditions going to be like or road closures and stuff. Then Park City would be good to do all 3 days at, especially if you have an Epic Pass. If you don't, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg for day passes.
What doesn't? Pall Mall's pretty good. Nordic is pretty good.
Nordic's extremely cheap, but very small.
You could see Nordic in a couple hours.
Yeah. So I would not spend 3 days in Nordic Valley. But anyway, I hope that gives you an idea. It's not like a great yes or no answer, but it there's a lot of variables there to consider. Vlad says, what's the best directional lunar board? I'm a little bit biased, but I'm going to say the Darkside.
I think the most versatile directional board that we have is the Curiosity.
Yeah.
The best, then when you go all the way up to the landing craft, then that's that is solely a one direction board. You can ride a switch, if you've gone mad, but
that's the one with the pintail, the rocket tail,
the rocket tail. And the super stiff nose,
the trident. If you get cut off by somebody, then you ride switch. Full speed into them.
I still love that video. I think from 2 years ago, I did that nose butter past you after elevator, and the trident just.
That was awesome. By the way, did you see my Instagram story from last weekend? Where I have a shot of the GoPro selfie, and I just pop over a little rock. It's like a 6 foot, 8 foot drop.
Okay.
And the nose lands in some POW, and the nose of the Darkside shoots up this really cool looking forked
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was kind of like this, shooting up. Anyway.
And then the Darkside I think is cream of the crop It's super versatile. It's a lot stiffer, so I think that it is
more demanding, but higher performance. But yeah, on like the slushier or more bumpy days, it would be a little more versatile to have the Curiosity.
Yeah, I think on a deeper day, it's like the Darkside kind of, especially if you're riding like chutes and steeper lines and things like that. And then the Curie, though, you can set back and then suddenly it floats.
That's true.
Like way better. So
that's very true. Hope that helps. Yeah. Health Production's sick. I'll have to come out for that. Been dying to hop on one of these lunar boards. She shapes are so sick. Yes, they are.
Thanks.
Levi says Crest. Yeah, I already read that one. I believe the new Eagle lift at Solitude is opening this weekend. Yeah, I saw they were doing some like promo stuff about it. Levi, I was talking to this one dude that's been boarding at B-Town since the 80s, and he said there was rumors of a Hidden Canyon Express. I've heard that for a number of years. I don't know.
That guy's been saying
how much
in the 90s.
Yeah, I don't know how much merit there is to that. He said he would have rather not upgrade, but expand to Hidden. But what's beautiful about Hidden Canyon is it wouldn't be Hidden Canyon if it had a chairlift back there, right? It's out of bounds. It's not mitigated by avalanche terrain. There's been talks I've heard from people forever about them possibly putting a chairlift back there or on the backside of Clayton's, but I honestly hope they don't.
Is Hidden's out towards like Rain Tree or Mother Tree and like left of Great Western? Is that right?
Yeah, Looker's left of Great Western. Yeah, that's all Hidden Canyon. So you get to the top of Great Western and you hang a left, go through the Avalanche Gate. That's all Hidden Canyon. It's awesome terrain, but yeah, I mean, as it is, like a few days after a storm, it'll get tracked out now. So I can't imagine what it'd be like if it was just, straight lift access. But that's me. Yeah. Ski bum, more night skiing this year. Definitely. Yeah. We had a ton of fun at Snake last year at Brighton.
And one fun day at Palma.
Oh yeah, that's right. We'll say we were talking about Palma earlier and all the changes that are going on, but one of the things they did say they changed is they made night skiing more accessible and they dropped their prices.
Oh, cool.
To $19.
That's awesome.
So that's
Sundown was totally
pretty
fun
cool. Sundown was very fun for night riding when we were there. So yeah, I think we'll do some more. We're both, family men with kids and whatnot.
Yeah, it makes night riding a lot harder now.
It's a little bit harder, but I think we'll get a few days out there. Yeah. A few nights, I should say. James GG, what can we do to help BP grow? I appreciate that, man.
Like and subscribe. Repost.
Like and subscribe. I mean, that sounds old and cliche, of course. But spread the word anytime you can. I mean, you can also help by repping, BP trigger mitts from BO. I think that helps a lot. Any merch that I sell, if you guys can help support that, that's awesome too. But yeah, hopefully we can just get some more exposure this year.
If you have any expertise in like crop circles, maybe they could make like BP QR codes in the snow, but seen from the air. So it gets on.
The biggest thing is like my statistics say that like 80% of viewership is not subscribed to Board Progression. So every time I throw out a video, pretty much only about 20% of you guys are actually subscribed. So
that is crazy. Subscribing helps a ton.
Don't know what else to do, but yeah. Caesar McFly, James UG says, think you said this was a make or break year for you. Not sure what it totally means, but yeah. What can we do to help? Yeah, man. It's just kind of like, I think, reality setting in this year, just financially, like it's hard to keep doing YouTube and keep making these videos without seeing substantial growth in the numbers. The last few years I've had some kind of cornerstone videos that took off that really helped me afloat. But this fall, I haven't had as many of those. And there was for a long time, my most viewed video, Gnarliest Drop-In, was like paying bills pretty well, but for whatever reason that sort of tapered off too. So, but
so it's like reshares, right? So it'd be getting, like you said,
Yeah.
getting the word out there, getting more visibility.
Yeah, definitely. But I will say, like, things are looking pretty good right now, and I've had some brand deals that are like kind of in the back burner right now that are, I think, going to help a lot. So things are looking good for the future right now.
Cool.
But
that's good to hear, man.
Yeah, hopefully it keeps going that way. Oh, it looks like we got Snowboard Pro Camp in the chat. He says, "What time are you riding tomorrow?" Sick. Yeah, man. So I think probably the earlier the better. I was gonna hit him up with a message soon. I think we're gonna ride the Bird tomorrow, guys. So 9 o'clock, I guess. I mean, they open at 9, so I'm gonna try to get there probably around like 8:30, and then yeah, we'll ride until as late as you can, buddy. I'm stoked to be linking up with Kevin. He's here in Utah for the season.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's gonna be sick. Once this guy's shoulder is all healed up and he gets the okay from the doctor, he's gonna be sending it for Kevin.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to ride with you, Kevin. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think Alex is sick right now, so I don't know if he'll be able to join us tomorrow. So that's a little bit of a bummer. But it should be
all right. I'm getting the bubble wrap out. Sam's gonna pop it all on the way out the door.
We'll just bundle you up like the kid from Toy Story.
Yeah,
Ralphie, and you'll be fine. Or not Ralphie, it's his brother, but yeah, I think we might have missed one or two. McHotterson's, I spent 20 days and still missed some spots in PC. Definitely, dude. I've said it before, but I think you could spend a whole season in Park City and not see everything. LF Productions, when are y'all gonna go to Pall Mall? I think soon. I mean, they just announced they're opening Lightning Ridge, and I feel like they said they were opening something else too. So soon. Yeah, I'd say like maybe when they open like James Peak. Yeah. Paradise. Yeah. So probably
that's where you gotta take Kevin. Pall Mall and Paradise.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that would be dope. Yeah. Kevin, if you haven't heard of Pall Mall, we'll educate you. But I'd say like decent chances of getting there before Christmas. But if we don't get there before Christmas, definitely like after the holidays. But hopefully before then, especially if we get like some good storms coming in, like some good precipitation soon, because realistically they're dependent on the snowfall. I know they added some snow guns on the bunny slope, but they really need a lot of snow for most of the terrain to be rideable the way we want it to ride. So hope that answers that question kind of. Cameron, any plans to ship Averin a lunar board to demo? Do you know who Averin Lefebvre is?
I don't recall the name.
Do you have any plans to ship anybody a demo board?
We actually have talked with people about shipping demo boards for like cool. Like basically like a shorter term but like lengthy rental, and then like covering shipping. But shipping is just so expensive these days that's where it kind of like falls apart. To ship a board is between $80 and $100 depending on where it's going. Yeah,
it's not cheap. But that'd be cool for sure. James GG, I sub. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Vlad, been a subscriber for years, bro. You're awesome. Love all your videos. Thanks, man. Means a lot to you. It means a lot that you guys are asking what you can do. I really appreciate each and every one of you. In Motion SLB, just subscribe to. Sweet. Thanks. Appreciate it, guys. LF Production. Snowboard Pro Camp and BP coming in hot. Yeah. I'm stoked, guys. In Motion SLB. Yo, LF Productions. Nice. You guys know each other. Yo, what's up? Extra. You put so much heart and soul in your videos, Dan. Always looking forward to the next upload over the last 3 years. Man, that's awesome. Thanks. We'll always support and hope to ride with you guys one day. Yeah, definitely. Speaking of which, I'm going to try to do a meetup. I talked about this in the last live chat, probably February. I'm going to see if I can do a day at Park City. Even though I don't have a pass there, I'm going to try to call in some favors and do a meetup there. And then another day on an Icon Pass place, probably Solitude, would make the most sense. So stay tuned for more details on that. And then, yeah, if I don't run into you organically.
Oh, he's the angry snowboarder. Sorry, I just saw it pop up.
Who? Oh, nice.
I didn't know his name. That's cool.
That is cool. Sweet.
That would be fun. You know, I haven't like I'm usually so busy, but there's like whether it's like building and other stuff that like I'm not really apprised on like trying to find other like. Yeah. But I mean that's a good idea.
Yeah. And if he reached out, like, yeah, I'm sure he'd be good. So I tried to hit up Board Archive TJ a little while back, like asking him if he'd be interested in testing out a Lunar, but I didn't hear back from him.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for that.
Yeah. So maybe that's another avenue I'll try to pursue, because I would love to hear his thoughts on some Lunar boards.
Yeah.
But
and if Kevin wants to ride something while he's here, he's more than welcome to.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll talk to you, Kevin, about our boards, his boards. If you're down, we'll definitely get you on one. All right, guys, it's almost 9:30, so I think we'll wrap it up. Again, if you got anything else you want to add, I'll try to answer it. Another Be More guy living out west. Keep it up, bro. Sweet. Love to see you head out to Bogus Basin. Yeah, I think we're going to try. Celica, my wife's parents, just moved to Idaho, so all the more reason to go up there, visit them, and hit up Bogus Basin. Yeah, we need snow, though. Slow start to the season, sadly. Sounds like that for most people, unfortunately. And
yeah, El Nino's been warm.
Yeah, and Snowboard Pro Camp, what's your favorite Utah mountain? It's a really tough one to answer, man. I think like my heart is definitely always going to have a special place for the Bird.
Yeah.
When I first moved out here, I spent 2 full seasons riding there almost exclusively.
And you worked there.
And I worked there. But there's so much to offer from all the other resorts as well. But if it's based on like just terrain and snow quality alone, I'd probably say the Bird.
I feel like the Bird requires you to toughen up. There's just, I mean, even when you think about like going up Gadzoom, right, from like an intermediate rider's perspective, right, the beginning of Gadzoom, like getting off the chair is like super low key, and then you are at the top of Big Emma. And you have a massive mogul field to your right generally, and then just all of a sudden like
pretty firm
a ski, like a racing hill. And then like you can see like a nice mellow run out, and you're like, I just gotta get there. You know,
the Bird will level up your riding. And it might not level up your park riding, but it'll level up
your technical riding,
your technique, your fundamentals.
I mean,
your pucker factor, your ability to manage like really steep technical terrain, and it'll boost your confidence riding pretty much anywhere else. So, but I love Brighton. I'll say that over and over again. Brighton has so much to offer. It's a big playground. I
love how many boarders are at Brighton.
Yeah, the boarding culture there is second to none.
That's a much smaller feel.
Yeah. And then like you go a little further north and you've got Snow Basin, which is top to bottom, just incredible terrain. It just doesn't get quite as good a quality of snowfall. But when I say that, it's not like drastically worse. It's just,
I'd say my caveat about
a little bit less.
The basin is also like their summer mountain pruning, right? Like the bushery of off-piste there is so thick. Like I feel like they could cut some stuff down and do some yard work.
Some yard work, yeah. They need a little more trail crew action.
Yeah.
Maybe. But that's really sick. And then, you keep going a little further north and you got Pall Mall, which we all talked about. And like the lack of crowds there is just insane and preserving the powder. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with them going partial private now and everything.
Yeah.
But anyway, I hope that kind of answers the question a little bit. And we got a super chat. Thank you, Levi.
Nice.
Appreciate it, man. Goodbye. Thanks for the great stream. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for making a great stream. Thanks
Thanks for
tuning
the
in.
questions. It's been a lot of fun tonight.
It has, definitely. Vlad says, what do you do outside of YouTube, Dan? Basically between like May and September, the last summer and the last few summers, I worked FedEx, like driving around a FedEx truck, making some money doing that. And then I also worked as a drone pilot for a country club that did food delivery. I got my drone pilot license, FAA certified, just from doing, YouTube stuff, flying the drone. And then I started looking for work as a drone pilot, and that came up and I was like, what? So, I did that last summer, played a little bit of golf, and had some fun flying the drone and getting better at that. But yeah, that's what I do just to pay the bills in the summertime and to try to stack up some money for the wintertime. But I'm always looking for something else that gets a little more income in the summertime, but won't kill me as well.
You want to try building boards?
How much do you pay?
Oh, well, that's
how big are your profit margins? Being a single business owner with no employees. Yeah. But maybe down the road, that'd be sick. All right, guys, I think again, we're going to wrap this up. What's your Instagram? Instagram is BORED_progression. And that's it. So yeah, just board progression with a underscore in between the two words. Definitely check that out. Appreciate it. And then we got another super chat. Sweet.
Nice.
Thank you, X-Rap. Really
X-Rap,
appreciate
right
that,
on.
man. Yeah. Appreciate every one of you guys. It's awesome. Levi says, I love Brighton since there's jumps in the middle of runs, especially on Mill. Yeah, there's side hits everywhere.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And there's like side hits at the Bird, but they're definitely more just like, I don't know, like cliff drops and stuff like that, and then maybe some cat tracks.
Like the whole top of Crest, right? You've got all of where the
Yeah.
cat cuts through, and
Yeah.
people just grind those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And there's like stuff like trees, like fallen trees at Brighton that they've like nailed together.
Johnny
Tsunami Log. Exactly. If you guys know the Disney Channel movie, I mean, it's a big famous one. But there's all kinds of stuff like that Brighton just totally embraces. There's like big rocks that are like kickers, like right off the side of the run, and
right in the bottom of the run.
Yeah. I talk about that in the Brighton review video, but there's so many like intermediate trails at Brighton that have expert features on them, like expert like freestyle features, which is just sick.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think we're going to have to wrap it up for time's sake. But thank you guys so much. Love me some Election at the Bird. Yeah, Election, super fun.
Was it LF that had the angry snowboarder idea?
I think so.
Yeah. Thanks for the suggestion. I'll look into that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Levi says I'll tune back in next week. Sweet. Yeah, guys, thanks. Again, if you like this time, Wednesday nights, 8 p.m., we'll keep doing them. So far, I've stayed more consistent this season than in seasons past, so we'll try to keep it going.
Way to go, Dan. Way to go.
Thanks. Yeah, I think that's what I need personally to get more growth. I think I just need to stick to a schedule, and hopefully, things will fall into place.
Heck yeah.
Appreciate it, guys. Yeah, we're sticking to the Wednesday live stream and uploads Mondays and Fridays. And so far, I've been able to juggle that this year, even with a 1-year-old and wife. So, all right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. We'll be at the Bird tomorrow. If any of you guys can come out, it'd be sick to see you riding with Kevin.
Nice.
Let's go. Yeah. All right, well, y'all. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. And stay tuned for the video dropping on Friday.
Peace.
Sick. You. All right, guys.